Do you feel stuck? Maybe you feel like you're in the same routine every day, and maybe life just isn't too exciting right now. Well, I submit to you the idea that the reason you feel this way is due to the lack of pathways in your life. And what I've learned over the last few years is that learning creates pathways. In this video, I'm going to use the simplicity of a tree to help break down this concept I'm going to be teaching you guys. My name is Goulet. Let's get started. All right, guys, let's jump on the whiteboard so we can begin learning, because remember, learning creates pathways. And the reason that learning creates pathways is that you start to get exposed, and as you start to learn more, you begin to be able to branch out to be the person you were meant to be. So this is how I want to describe what has likely happened in your life, because I know it has happened in mine. So let's use the tree here to describe our current life. So here you were just a little tree and you were forced to go to school, sit down, shut up, listen to the teacher, and follow the rules that they wanted you to follow. So when you're put in a situation like this, as a young child, you start to be programmed to have somebody else think for you. And you learn what other people want you to learn. So that creative aspect in you that's naturally instilled in all of us starts to become dormant. And I think a lot of people start to lack identity through this process. So how many times have you looked at a tree and there's been branches all this low? Probably never, because most often the time trees go up and then the branches come out once it starts to get a little taller. So let's describe this part of a tree as going to school. So this is going to school. You were just basically programmed and forced to learn what they wanted you to learn, right? So you weren't able to branch off into what you wanted to do because you probably weren't mature enough or old enough to be able to do those type of things. So now people graduate, and let's let green. The leaves that I'm going to draw is basically going to describe the unknown future and experiences, right? So now you graduate here, and now you have a whole lot of unknown territory right here. And you're going to perceive this green energy and confusion as fog. So you might not know where you should branch out, and sometimes you start to get anxiety on where you should go, and you kind of get stuck in that disaster plan. Watch the other video, and that'll help you understand if you're stuck in this situation. So what will help you get past this situation is learning. So you want to learn about the truth, and most importantly, you want to learn about the truth, you want to learn about the law of the universe, God's laws, and you also want to learn about yourself, which when you learn those other things, it is going to help you learn more about yourself. It's pretty exciting once you start to get into it. So don't knock religion, or don't knock anything about that, because you'll learn so much more about yourself than you could ever imagine. So if you're stuck here, you don't know where to branch out, what will help you is finding your identity. What do you like? What kind of person are you? Who do you want to be? Why do you want to be that person? What are your strengths? What is something that you're not so good at? So start to figure out yourself, and you will start to naturally branch off, because that's just one of the laws. So, where's my napkin? Okay, so let's say you figure yourself out a little bit more, and now you decide, hey, I want to learn about real estate. So let's depict this part of the branch as learning about real estate. So maybe you don't necessarily need someone to get involved in real estate. Maybe you just want to start by watching some YouTube videos on real estate. Or maybe you want to start reading books on real estate. Or maybe you decide that you want to go full-fledged and go take a course or something like that. So now there's no blockage to you going to read a book. I mean, maybe if you can't afford $10 or whatever it is, that's a different story, right? But let's say you decide you want to take this area. So this is free. So this could be free education, things you could find for free or a very low cost. And you could put yourself into a territory over here where you might meet somebody we'll draw a little ant or something to describe this, who will help show you the way. So he'll take you down a road and he'll show you his connections and what he did when he was at this spot, and he'll be almost like a mentor. So this person you'll find on the way. On the other hand, you might have someone on this side, and let this part of the branch depict, we'll put a big lock there, let me see. So we're going to draw a lock here because you need access to go down this pathway. Well, what do you mean by that, Aaron? Okay, so we'll get into it. So if you want to go to college, most of the time, for most people, college is not free. So if you've ever driven and you want to go somewhere, some highways have tolls on them and they require you to pay a small fee so that you can get to your destination. And the reason that you're paying a toll is because maybe that state or county or whatever put a lot of money into the roads and they want to get paid back for their hard work. So sometimes you'll see somebody here. And that, like I said, this might be college. This might be a paid mentorship. This might be like a physical trainer if you want to start working on your health and you want to start going down that aspect. And yeah, all those people are going to require you to pay some kind of fee because I don't know how many people you know that work for free, but there's very little. So you might have to pay the small fee because remember, where you're going is more important than where you are right now. So pay that toll. And then once you pay that toll here, he's going to bring you where you want to go. And you're going to be saving a lot more time than he did because he probably spent his whole life teaching you what you could learn from him in a year's time or whatever the desired outcome is. So remember, you still have unknown territory here. So it's still foggy, but as you begin to learn more, that branch becomes bigger. And the best part about it is that once that you actually start in off a specific branch, it's not just one branch. The branch starts to grow a branch. So then you'll have something that goes down this way. And then it'll go this way. And then while this is starting to fill in, this is still going to be growing here too. So let's say now that this branch is getting bigger. It'll go like this. And then now again, same thing. You're learning more about private trust. You're learning about real estate. You're learning about how to balance it, do accounting and stuff like that. Maybe you want to learn about real estate. Learning about the spiritual world, learning about God, learning about how to build a house, learn about plumbing, electrical, whatever it is that the branch that you want to go down it intentionally. And then you're going to start to see how everything starts to go off and you're going to be creating pathways off of just learning. And the more that you begin to learn, the more branches that just start to grow. So now, once you start to have so many branches, remember, you're having all these, the future is all unknown. You're having all these experiences. And all of these experiences are creating more and more unknown area. So you can see now it's starting to look like a tree, right? Because now you're having branch after branch after branch and more unknown territory. And the coolest thing about it is that way we could fill this in a little bit, right? So say you're like in my example, okay, I'm a registered nurse. So I went down one way. I do construction, so I learned construction through my dad. Let's see, I was in automotive in high school, so that might be a little branch because I don't do that anymore, but I still have a branch going off of that. Now I'm learning about private trust, and now we have another one learning about spirituality. Just learning about the world, and I'm learning about. I'm picking up hobbies. I'm playing pickleball. I'm meeting people. So I'm starting to develop this big tree, and I started to notice that the reason that people aren't doing this is because they're still stuck here because of what school taught them. And the reason that I think that the school system isn't the best is because imagine you're driving in traffic, right? And I'm sure everybody who's listening could experience this. If you're driving and it's stop and go traffic, it's very crowded, it's very congested, and traffic is uncomfortable for a lot of people because you're just sitting there, you don't have to use your mind, you just have to sit there and deal with it. So now when you're doing stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, people begin to get car sick. And I think that people don't think about it right, and they associate the sickness from the traffic and try to say, oh, I don't like learning because I got car sick. I hope that made sense. Okay. So, but the fun learning is when you're out of school and then you start to branch off, because now you get excited, and the more that you learn, the more that you're able to learn. And now you start to develop this whole big tree. And you always want to prepare, because when it's springtime, you better be planting seeds. So then when it comes time to harvest and when it's the fall, you better be having something grown, because when it's winter and things go rough, when you have a storm come by and it's this big nasty storm, the economy crashes, you lose a loved one, your partner lost their job, and now it's all up to you. Let's say this is the storm. And we're going to let this, picture this as if the branch broke off. So now if you had one income, if you had one way to do thing or one skill, whatever the situation is, this tree is still going to survive, because it still has nursing, construction, learning how to trade stocks and get involved in option trading, or be able to sell houses or wholesale houses. There's so many ways to make money out there, just flipping stuff, whatever. Maybe you babysit on the weekends. I don't know, whatever your situation is. So now this and all the green, all the unexpected future is going to still feed the tree, because remember, the leaves on the tree are the fuel source for the tree. It's like the factory. It produces a lot of the energy. So the more experiences you have, the more energy you're going to have here. And the more energy you have, the more pathways you're going to be able to create for yourself, because you're just going to be a strong, abundant tree. So now let's fix this, because we don't want to speak death, but we want to at least let people be prepared. So let's draw the branch here, and let's go here again. So now, pardon me. So now when times get rough and it starts to rain real bad, and the big storm comes by and it's raining, one of the best parts about having a big abundant tree is that you get to help people. So when it begins to rain, if you're outside, what's the first thing that you do? Most people go and run under a tree. They're going to say, oh, I don't want to get wet. And the tree basically helps you, the tree basically will help you not get wet or mess up your hair or whatever the situation is. So now people will be able to seek comfort because of the tree that you produced. And that might be your family, and that might be your friends, and it might be someone that you like to donate to if you like to donate to a charity. There's so many people that you can help just by building a big tree, because remember, it's not about you, it's about what you can produce and be able to put back into the earth. So before we wrap it up, I want to touch base on where should you plant your tree. If you had to plant a tree, where would you plant it? You want to make sure that soil that you're going to plant is rich in nutrients. You want it to have everything that you need to be a successful tree. So that might be water, and that might be the different organic materials that the tree needs. In our spiritual world, what we need to become a big tree is the truth. And the truth is in principles. And where can you learn these principles? I don't care if you know about God or anything like that. If you begin to learn the principles and the law that the Bible teaches, you will be the strongest, biggest tree. So in Psalms it says, but his delight shall be in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, his leaf that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. So those aren't just words, ladies and gentlemen. That is the truth. But it all starts with belief and knowing who you are. Remember, identity, because you're a creation. You're God's highest form of creation. So if you think that you're not, it's going to be hard for you to branch off. But I'm telling you right now, that's the source of where you should be getting a lot of the energy. You should be rooted in his word. It's phenomenal. And as you start to go down these branches, you're going to start to find off your purpose. You're going to start to find more on about your purpose. Because my favorite scripture that actually got me interested in the Bible and starting to dive down that way is Romans 12:2, and it says, don't conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you could find out what is the what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God. So if you conform and you stay here, like we did earlier, and you were just stuck after graduation, and you really haven't changed much since, you're going to start to feel a little salty and a little confused, and it's going to push you away from God because you don't know about yourself. You don't have that identity before you understand God. So once you start to branch off, you're going to understand your purpose more, and that's going to give you fulfillment, and that's just going to be the cycle of life. You guys are so powerful as God's highest form of creation, and you don't even know it. We are spiritual beings living a human experience. We are not humans living a spiritual experience. There is an energy in this invisible world that we have a hard time understanding. But once you start to understand it, you will be able to see the invisible. That's why people say that we walk by faith and not by sight. Because if you judge everything by what you see, you are going to be having trouble growing into the tree that you are meant to be. I hope you guys learned something from this. It was my pleasure to teach it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this, because it took me a while to really put these thoughts together so that I could teach you and maybe help somebody understand life and their situation better. Go out and branch out. Be the person you're meant to be. God bless you. Have a good night, everybody.